The autumn season has finally arrived in the beaker, and I must say it's looking all kinds of colourful around here at the moment. Grass is growing on every surface, the trees have begun to drop their autumn leaves, and the rain has brought with it another beautiful rainbow. It's definitely not the same one. However, it also seems to have filled the lake to near bursting point. This thing looks ready to overflow at any moment, and those grey rain clouds don't seem to be budging. In fact, it looks like it's already started raining again. Oh dear. On the bright side, Iodine's garden will be very happy about it, although it seems she may have left something in her mailbox. I do hope she collects it before it gets damp. Iodine's prized pumpkin patch can of course never get enough rain. Just look at them grow, absolutely beautiful. All of them being carefully guarded by her trusty scarecrow, and as you can see by the complete lack of crows, he is doing a fantastic job. That guy deserves a raise. Of course, with autumn comes the burden of leaves absolutely everywhere, and clearly an effort has been made to start cleaning up some of this mess, but honestly, we all know it's a losing battle, especially when you're living somewhere with so many trees. I mean, just look at how many leaves are still waiting to drop. Speaking of things dropping, it's also apple season right now, and honestly, who doesn't love apples? Personally, I prefer green apples, but red apples still look so pretty hanging from the tree. Well, maybe not this one. Seems to have a bit of a caterpillar problem. Now, this apple tree, being a particularly tall one, also offers a lot of shade from the weather, so what a perfect place to sit on a bench with a good book and relax your afternoon away. It's also a great place to do a bit of wildlife spotting, and you never know what you might see. Perhaps a little hedgehog, or even a nesting owl, or if you're really lucky, maybe even a red fox. Now, I cannot imagine a more peaceful and inviting place to be this time of year than the Beaker Garden. That being said though, I do think I can hear Iodine coming back, and she's not the biggest fan of trespassers, so I think for our own safety we should probably, you know, hot-foot it out of here. Quickly now, let's go, come on. Hey guys, so that was an overview of the cage theme. I decided to style it in a kind of storytelling way, which I personally enjoyed, but I also want to know what you guys thought of it. Would you like me to introduce more cage tours like this in the future? Let me know. Anyway, now I'm going to go into a little more detail about the setup and show you some of the toys that were hidden away and explain my general thought process when putting it together. So when I'm designing a cage theme, I obviously want everything to be cohesive and flow together, but I also want to make sure there's plenty to keep the hamster entertained. So there's a lot of forage toys and puzzles in this setup, along with things to chew on, tunnels, hides, places to explore, and of course the shelves. A couple of things you may not have seen in the beginning of the video are hidden underneath the garden shelf and the feeding shelf. The garden shelf itself has been turned into a kind of hide/tunnel simply by creating a side wall from bendy bridges, but there's also a woven tunnel hidden on the left side. Now, underneath the feeding shelf, I've created a similar wall using a larger bendy bridge, and this one has an extendable tube underneath it that leads from one side to the other. So both shelf setups are pretty similar, but they provide Iodine with more shelter options, which is especially important now that it's getting colder. Oh, and while we're by the feeding shelf, Iodine now has this totally adorable glass leaf dish. Unfortunately though, I can't remember whether I bought this in Jumbo or in the thrift shop. I'm leaning more towards Jumbo. I debated whether or not to create a facade for the rainbow to turn it into a lightning strike, but in the end I decided I'm going to save that for a different theme, and I kept the rainbow the same. I did, however, repaint the cloud so it's now grey, which made a lot more sense considering in this theme it's supposed to be a rain cloud. I also covered the cloud base in grey fleece just because that was a lot easier than painting it. Beneath the cloud base we have the raindrops, which are made from kids craft card and hung by string onto screw-in hooks. And when you look into the cage, the hooks are completely hidden away due to the height of the shelf, so you just see the raindrops. Going back down to the garden shelf, you might have noticed the lack of mushrooms. Yes, they have since become trees. I created some temporary canopies and tree trunks, again from Children's Craft Card, so whenever I'm ready to go back to mushrooms or change them to something else entirely, it's a really easy switch to make. I did a similar thing with the giant mushroom, but for the trunk I of course had to work with the staircase, so I decided to use some brown fleece for this part, which does look a little bit rough, I will admit, but I don't totally hate it, and it's helped to provide a bit more privacy for Iodine, who is still nesting in that back corner, although now she does have a box back there, so it's a little easier to clean. On the ground level of the cage, she has a selection of foraging toys and chew toys as well. So the foraging toys include a red fox, which is just a simple redesign of the bat puzzle I made in 2017. She also has a pile of leaves for foraging in, which I love more than I thought I would after watching Iodine go food diving in it earlier today. And my favourite forage toy, of course, is the pumpkin patch. This was inspired by the slow feeders you can buy for cats and dogs, and each one of the pumpkins is just a wooden bead that's been glued down to the base, so they can't be moved around, and Iodine really has to get in there and work hard with her paws and her snout in order to get her reward. There are also a couple of tree trunk treat hides, which, as you would expect, you just hide treats beneath and the hamster has to lift the trunk off and move it away to get to them. In the middle of the cage is another tree-themed toy, a cardboard and paper mache tunnel, which I wrapped in green sisal string, aka vines, just to add a bit more depth to it. By the way, to colour sisal string, all you have to do is soak it in some water with a couple of drops of food colouring for an hour or two, and then just let it dry and you have safely coloured string. Finally, we have one more hidden toy. It's just this simple wooden hide against the front of the cage. It's nothing special and it's just mainly there to help Iodine pull herself up onto the shelf above. So there are all the extra things you may have missed or may have been confused about. I am really happy with this cage theme. I think it looks so cute and colourful and cozy. Iodine is already having a lot of fun, so if she's happy, that's really all that matters. But let me know what you guys think of this theme in the comment section down below. If you have a favourite part, let me know what it is. If you didn't like something, let me know why. And in the meantime, if you enjoyed this video overall, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. You can also share it with your friends and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye bye!